Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another fight study. Today, I got the legendary Juan Manuel Marquez, and not just him, but his coach in the back, Nacho Burstein, I think. The reason I chose this fight, Marquez was still young, and to be honest, most of the Marquez fights that I've watched, before getting into actually studying him a couple weeks ago were when he was a little bit older, when he was fighting Pacquiao and Barrera and stuff, and his style actually had changed so much. What I realized from watching him when he was young. When he was young, he was a spitting image of Ricardo Lopez. If you don't know Ricardo Lopez, do your homework. I'll also be doing a study on him. Also, the reason I chose this fight is because this is Marquez when he won his first title. So we'll see Marquez before he was a big superstar. One of my comments on Instagram, actually a couple people told me that Marquez actually changed up his style to be more fan-friendly and became more of a fighter. Which makes sense because in his earlier career, he was much more of a boxer, puncher, counter puncher, and he lands a lot of good counter punches in this fight also, so which we'll talk about. Now, I think the commentators also mentioned this was the first southpaw he fought in the pros, so that's gonna be interesting. And Mingo has a longer reach. He's taller, probably also has a longer reach. So I was studying the fighters from Nacho Burstein's, his students, like what's his name? Gilberto Ramon, Zaragoza, Marquez, his brother. Now, if you've watched Ricardo Lopez before, you know that this hands up, his whole stance just looks like he looks like a bigger version of Ricardo Lopez. Here he feints a lot in this fight. Nice 1-2, steps back good. And we'll get into some stuff that he does very well. I wish he stayed fighting like this throughout his whole career, because he just looks so good in this style. Now, this is something I want to point out that Marquez did a lot of, is before he punches or commits to attack. I've also watched another fight of his when he's younger against Jupiter or Jupiter. Marquez versus Jupiter is his last name, yeah. Now, Marquez here, he does a split step, which I'll show here when this bar goes away. This annoying bar. Okay, so here we go. Okay, you see how he splits? Bang, and then he usually throws his punches off this split. Now, Ricardo Lopez did this a lot too. Here, Marquez just feints it. He's not feinting it, he's just trying it out, seeing how far he is, and just finding all the dimensions of it. But this is a step that he did a lot of. So he's standing regular, out of nowhere, he splits, gets low, and he throws his punches from this stance. Now, the thing I like about Marquez also is his left uppercut, his lead uppercut. I think it was very nice. It was a slicing punch. See, there you go, he's feinting. And if you don't know, I love the feint. Every good coach, every good fighter loves the feint. And this is another thing, is Marquez held his left hand longer out, which I like to do. I don't like the left hand to the face. I I forgot the word, but the left hand to me, or the lead hand, is like a knife. Okay, when I was reading about the origins of boxing, and the first guy that came up with the rules of Queensberry, I think, I forgot his name. One of those early boxers, guys that came up with the boxing that we know today. He was a stick fighter, and I think also like he played around with knives and stuff. So ever since I read that, I started thinking about having a knife in my hand, carrying a knife. Now, if this person has a knife and I have a knife, I'm not gonna keep my knife to my face, okay? Because then it lets this guy get his knife across, and I can't get my knife off, okay? If you watched old movies with sword fighting and like Troy and all those guys, you keep your sword out so you could touch up your, I won't say the other word because we're on YouTube, so you could touch your opponent with it. If your knife or your sword is close to your face, it doesn't serve any other purpose. It loses its purpose, okay? So I see there's some fighters like Mike Tyson, Ike Quartey, some fighters, they kept their left hand close to their face, which works also because it's a different style. But my personal favorite position for the left hand is this, because the knife is out. I could pop with it. I could defend with my forearm when I need to by lifting it up or controlling the other person's neck area. But I just like it because it gets it so active in this position, and we'll try to see if I could point that out in this fight also. But yeah, the right hand is the shield for me. The left hand, I keep it out, pop with it, turn into a hook. See right there? So when you think about the left hand or the jab like a knife, it really changes your perspective on it, and you stop thinking about a punch. You start thinking about touching, stabbing, pop, pop, pop. You stop thinking about landing a punch. You just start thinking about touch, touch. It makes it so much more efficient, and it makes it useful. See how you can just pop it out? That's what you need from a left hand. Now, like I said, it depends on your style of fighting. There's no absolute wrong or right ever in boxing. There's general guidelines, but there's no wrong or right, or right and wrong. See right there, see how his left hand is carried out? Right hand close to the face where it should be. Catch jabs and block hooks and uppercuts. Left hand out. Moving. See right there? As he's moving, he has his left hand out. And he just puts it out and touches his opponent. Folds his opponent's advances just by putting his left hand out. It doesn't have to hit him hard, just moving, stick it out. And then his opponent gives up on the attack, moves out. Nice right body shot. You can see Marquez does the bounce a lot. He bounces and then stops, bounces, moves, stops. But he looks a lot more skillful in his earlier days than he did when he got older, and that's because he changed his style to be more fan-friendly. That was the first round. We're going to the second. I think he's having some trouble due to the height and the southpaw stance of his opponent, so it's taking him some more time to figure out how he wants to go about it. And something I also always want to teach and point out to fighters, there we go, the bar's gone. Watch where Marquez's front foot is and watch where his left hand is when he's getting active to move in and out. There, the left hand, the glove is on top of lines up perfectly with the foot. So when he steps in, it's like a star. I don't know why I say like it's star, but it looks like a star, which is his left side. See how it moves together? I don't know if he did it, if there's a better example. But I see how they line up together. So his left side is working together to get in and out. Nice left hand by Mingo. I'll wait to see if there's more instances where Marquez does this, what I was talking about. Now this is something else that Marquez did a lot with his lead hook. If you watched Maidana versus Broner, you know what I'm talking about, which is, so two things is the split step that Marquez does. Here he drops, and when he drops down, he drops his lead hand, his left hand. So you see how his hand, what I've been talking about for the past 10 minutes, is his hand is always up. Now he drops his hand when he drops, and now he's feinting to see what his opponent's gonna do for the next time. So here, what did his opponent do when Marquez dropped like this? If you've guessed it, the right hand went down. So by knowing that the right hand went down, he knows that this is opening for the next time, and he just moves out. So great boxers, before they actually throw the punch they want to land, they feint it or feint something similar to see how you're going to react to it. So when they throw it, they have a better judgment of what might be your reaction and then how they could better plan it. They don't just throw it. Okay, this is what I was talking about before. So left hand, left glove, I'm not going to use my mouse because then the bar shows up. Left hand, I'm using my finger right now, but you can't see. Left hand, direct line down to the left foot, and they move together. Okay, they move together, they get out together. Let's wind back. They move together, they'll go out together. They move together, and they get out together, okay? Lennox Lewis, actually, he also did this. He kept his left hand out, and when he would jab, he would step in with it. Closes the distance a lot easier than starting the jab at your face. Nice left hand from Mingo. Never watched Mingo before this fight. Don't know much about him. Now this is something Ricardo Lopez did a lot. It's not a feint with the jab, well it kind of is. But Ricardo Lopez, he would just be moving and he would just pop a full-on jab, a touching jab right in between him and the opponent. And you see how Marquez drops that glove. Beautiful jab. Textbook jab. You can't get any better than this. Him and Ricardo Lopez, perfect jab. Okay, they do this when they're a little bit distance away. It's a measuring jab. It keeps something in your opponent's eye, and it just does something. What I want to talk about also is small talk in boxing. Now, why I said small talk is when you're talking to someone, you don't just, some people say like, oh, I hate small talk and whatever, which same, just stay with me, you're going to understand. With boxing, you gotta be good at small talk. What I mean by small talk is you gotta do stuff continuously to keep yourself active, keep your opponent thinking. You gotta engage with them constantly. You can't just move around and not engage with your opponent, because then you let them do the engaging and talking, and then they start throwing their punches. Talking equals punches. So here Marquez, he's moving. Let me just pop a jab. Let me just pop a jab. He did something, okay? And this something, it gives him information about his opponent, and it keeps him active to set up his next punch and stay active, okay? So you got to get good at the small talk in the ring, which is the feints, the foot feints, the feinting with the hands or air punches, the head movement. You always want to be the center of attention to the judges also, because when they see you constantly active, even if you're not, like this punch didn't land. I don't think I'm overanalyzing this, because I've watched a lot of fights, and I do this a lot. You just throw a jab or two out, And this is, I'm trying to explain the thinking behind this, just throwing that punch. Okay, you want to be the center of attention for activity in the ring. Like Mingo right now, he's not doing much, but the judges, when they're watching the fight, even though there's no points scored in this particular moment, they see Marquez feinting, moving, popping that jab, moving his hands. Now Mingo gets active. But the more you do these little stuff other than real punches, the more you stay in the center of attention from the judges and the fans. And that's what usually wins fights. If there's no knockout and it's a close fight, it's who is more active. Okay, so here, same thing. Marquez moving, just pops out that left in the face of the opponent as the opponent moves in. And that's all he needs, a touch. He knows he's close enough. His opponent is reaching in. Left, right, left uppercut. Does the left uppercut land? Kind of skims through. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about in this video is Marquez's great counter punching. So here the opponent is moving in. Marquez just touches him with that jab. Literally, it's not even a jab. He just extends his arm at the elbow. In personal training, we call this elbow extension. He's just extending his elbow, opening up that elbow. Leans back, he steps back, left, right, left. We'll see a lot more of counter punching from Marquez. Nice left uppercut right there. One of my favorite Marquez punches, his right hand and his left uppercut. And you see how he turns his body into it? I've done a video on this myself explaining how to get more power on the lead uppercut. But the basically is how you twist into, how you move in behind that uppercut. Bang. Always moving in and out, moving side to side. Not as much as Gilberto Ramon. Nice feint with the right hand from Marquez. See? Just, he knows that jab isn't going to land, but he sees his opponent stepping in. So when his opponent steps in, throws that jab, what does his opponent do? Step out. This is also not letting your opponent set up. So by setting up is Mingo, he stepped in, or he's in the process of stepping in to get off an attack, to close the distance. Now Marquez just throws a jab. Mingo's like, I don't want none of this, and he feints the right hand. Mingo's like, I don't want any of this. He steps back out, pops a jab. But his actual offense that he was setting up kind of foils away. There's that split step. So Marquez just moves. He just pops. Now this is another feint, and the reason he did that is to see the reaction for the left, for what Mingo does. And every time, this is the second time Marquez has made this feint, and it's the second time that Mingo has dropped his right hand. So here he's moving. Okay, now this is gonna help us later on in this fight. Nice right hand from Marquez. So it just okay, Marquez is the active one. Look, he just throws his two jabs out. One. And this is so hard to get a new fighter or a new boxer, for someone that's getting into boxing newly, is these touching jabs, which in a new person's mind, they make zero sense, because they think every punch is, they think boxing equals fighting equals throwing punches, equals I'm throwing a punch only when I want to land a punch. Not the case here. touch, no, here, touch, touch, steps back, comes back in with the right hand, gets back out, touch, touch, and now he's in control. Okay, you see how active he was? And he only, what? Let's count how many punches he threw. I'm using air quotations because he wasn't really throwing those punches, just touching the air. And how many punches? So we got 1, 2, steps out, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, from 6 punches, Marquez landed 1, which was the right hand. Okay, all those jabs just to land 1 right hand to the body. If you've been boxing for a long time, if you know your boxing, you understand why he threw 5 jabs to land 1 right hand. He feinted a right hand right there. Because a guy, especially when you got the shorter reach, a guy like Mingo, he can move pretty good. What I've seen, okay, and he's able. If Marquez just throws a straight right to the body without any preparation, without any other prior movements, he's going to get out the way and he's going to counter Marquez. So Marquez has to hide that right hand to the body between a sandwich of jabs. Nice feint right there. Now this is when you see Marquez starting to take control, is when his feints get aggressive. And with a lot of fighters also, that's when you start knowing who's in control, is when their feinting gets aggressive and they're moving in. It shows the body language, he's like a lion hunting. Okay, here's a beautiful counter punch. Okay, lets that left hand get on his shoulder. Left uppercut, right hand, left uppercut, right hand. And what I want you to focus on is Marquez's body. So he's on this angle, okay, and he goes twist up, back down, back up, back down. Shoulders, hips, and torso twisting together. I really wish he didn't really change up his style because, man, I mean, his changing up his style, it got him the big fights. But I really like this style. I never seen these types of performances from Marquez prior to actually trying to study him and watch his older fights when he was younger. This is something that I talked about a long time ago on Instagram, is when you're studying a fighter, you don't want to watch just from one era, especially if they had a long career like Marquez. You want to watch them when they first started, their first couple pro fights, in the middle, and towards the end, and sometimes in between. But then you see how closely they resemble themselves from the start of their career to the end, what they changed, why they changed, what they added on, how they progressed, and you start learning from them, from their mistakes and what they did right. So Marquez, he had this style, but he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna get caught on TV if I keep fighting like this, so I gotta become more of a fighter. Made him more money. So if you could learn from Marquez of what he did. Mayweather, complete opposite. He was more of the aggressor when he was young, or more like punch output and more of a knockout artist when he was young. As he got older, he became more defensive. So you could learn from that also. Always something to learn. So that's why you watch early fights of a career, middle fights of the career, and the ending fights of the career. And here you see Marquez stepping with that left and right. Watch his feet, same exact time. Nice right hand by Marquez. And this is the left hook that we saw him feint twice before. Here he drops. And what does Mingo do with his right hand? He does the same thing he did the previous 2 times. and he gets caught with the, I think that hook landed, but you can see Mingo drop his right hand, he extends it. You can't really see this one clean, but we'll see later on. And I just love the lead uppercut from Marquez. Ricardo Lopez also, it just slices through like just a beautiful punch. Every part of it, the twisting of the body, how he just unfolds it to his opponent. Beautiful punch. There it is again. Great punch. There's that counter punching from Marquez. Look at his eyes, the intensity of his eyes. Yeah, you feel it, you give it back. This is what when I always talk about. Did I talk about this a long time more? Okay, so basically, boxing, you don't want to always use your eyes. You want to use your eyes to stay on the opponent, but you don't want to look that the punch hit you to hit them back. I talk about this more for the jab, how to defend against a jab. Is when you feel is when you give back. So Marquez feels, he feels a punch on his elbow, he gives one back right away. And that's the same thing when you catch a jab. When a jab comes at you, is when you feel that touch on your glove is when you jab back. If I don't feel that touch, then I'm not gonna try to parry or catch the jab because I'll leave myself open. And then that's when I jab back, is when I feel it on my glove is when I jab back. So I know they're actually close. Because your sense of touch registers faster than your sense of your eyesight. Learned this in school, which is pretty cool. So go off feeling in the ring. Of course, you want to use your eyes to watch out for feints and watch your opponent, what they're doing. But for the other stuff, I like going off feeling. Feel it on my elbow counter. That's how the counters get faster. Nice right hand. I think Marquez feinted the left hand because it's far away from his face. Nice right hand. Nice left uppercut again. And you gradually see if, like in the first rounds, Mingo was throwing a lot more punches. Here he's throwing some punches, but towards the end he's not throwing any punches. Because he's scared, he gets worried about this. So he just feinted, he attempted to move in, and Marquez was right back. And this is how you keep make someone stop punching, is you from counter punching. Smart counter punching. What was that again? The feint by dropping the lead hand. See, now he used this feint. I missed to point this out in the previous round. He actually does that left hand drop, comes around. He misses with the left hand, but he catches him with that right. Bang. Later on, he catches him with the left hand, the left hook that he's been setting up. Nice feinting. Feinting is a counterpuncher's best tool next to the jab. No, I said against Pacquiao, Marquez didn't really move forward. He counterpunched very well. But at times when he should have moved forward, he didn't. So I was watching out for that here. If he used to come forward more. Some fighters like myself, I had trouble moving forward. I like it when someone moves in, I could counterpunch and make them close the distance. Makes my job a lot easier. Some fighters are way better at fighting coming forward. Just depends on the person, I guess. There goes that left hand right in the face. Didn't do much. Step back. No, Ricardo Lopez actually did this. So a straight left to the body. He would actually parry it like that and then throw the same right hand. Just want to see if I go back to this video where the timestamp. Nice left hand by Mingo. See how Marquez is constantly moving. Nice job by Mingo. But not moving big, but just staying shaken around. Shoulders moving, feet are moving, head is moving, fainting. He's like a bee. Like a bee doesn't just stand, it keeps buzzing around, or like a fly. That's how you want to be. It keeps the opponent in a constant state of, when is this guy going to move in? When is this guy trying to hit me? And you see how his feints are getting more and more aggressive from the previous rounds, Marquez? That's a positive piece of body language, which I like to teach, is when you got someone not scared of you, more cautious of you, or they're tired, you start feinting them more with more aggressive feints. And it makes them lose confidence and make mistakes, and it makes people see that you're the one with the body language that's winning, with the winner's body language. Beautiful. Let's see if this one was a counter. See, what did we talk about? Now this is different because Mingo is southpaw, but you feel that left hand on the glove, you give it right back to him, and then you come in with the right hand. Boxing is a feeling sport. You feel how you feel in different situations. You feel that this might happen if you do it. It's all a feeling sport. That's why the best athletes can't make the best boxers, even if they're hit hard and are tough. You gotta have the feeling of it. And that's only cultivated from early childhood. It's like life. A person in their 80s or 70s, he has a lot more feeling. They can feel different situations. A boxer is the same way. When you've been boxing for a long time, like 10 years plus, you start to feel different situations, and you start feeling of what you should do and how you're doing. So boxing is a very much feeling sport. I think the Magic Man Antonio Tarver, he talked about it too. That's why, like, you'll see boxers with a lot of good ability, but they just don't make it. They don't have the best careers because the feel of their sport is not there. Like, when an older person gets into a situation, they've been through that situation before. They know how to feel. They felt these emotions before. They know how to, life experience and boxing experience is the same exact thing. You got a feeling of what you should do, a feeling of what punch to throw, depending on experience. Less experienced boxers, they don't have that feel yet because they haven't had any experience in the ring. That's why it's so important to reflect on sparring and training. Even if you write it down, you could go back to it and it builds the bank in your mind of boxing knowledge. Nice. See, this is why Mingo doesn't want to keep punching, or punching first at least. Is Marquez is ready to catch. Marquez has like a hair trigger. As soon as he just feels something, it just pops back at you. But. See how he's shutting down Mingo. Now that's a split step that he did. Marquez, he's moving, split step. And what is that left hand that we talked about? Comes in with that left hand. Now he's too far away. So Mingo, I think that's why he didn't drop his right hand. He was just too far away. So you want to be a little bit closer when you do this move, or when Marquez drops his hand, because when you're closer to the body, then Mingo could think about the body. But from here, really hard to go to the body for Marquez, so Mingo doesn't really drop his hand, but Marquez catches him with the right hand. So if hit or miss, that left hand is a solid setup for Marquez. Because if he didn't land the left hand, but he could land the straight right. So he's feinting that right hand again and again. The reason you can feint so small in boxing and the opponent falls for it is because the opponent is trained to see small stuff. So that's why feinting becomes easier. Yeah, I mean, you could feint with small movements because the opponent is watching you so closely. It's like a sniper, I guess. Like, their attention is on you, so any little movement you do, they'll catch it. So you can feint them a lot easier by making small feints also. It doesn't have to be a huge feint. Nice left hook. Nice left hand by Mingo there. He's really doing good as Mingo. Mingo, because he's southpaw, as he moves to his right, Marquez keeps cutting him off with that left hook. He could have, before he threw the right hand, but he didn't this time. But guys, opposite stance, you could catch them as they turn the corner with the hand they're moving into. Halfway through the fight, and you see Marquez now, he's extended his arm a lot more than before. So there's different ranges where you extend your arm to. You could put it here, put it where Marquez had it in the earlier rounds, or you could put it here. Different uses. Right now he's just trying to keep away. He's trying to keep his distance from Mingo, and then he puts it a little bit closer. So he's feinting. Now as soon as Mingo threw that punch, now what is Mingo not doing? He's not feinting. Like he did this, but I guess that was his feint, was a fake jab, come back with the left hand. But Marquez's eyes are wide open, and as soon as he sees that commitment from the left hand from Mingo, comes back with his own punches. And those punches don't always have to land, but you're just telling your opponent that, hey, when you throw a punch like that at me, I'm going to hit you back with something. Or I'm going to attempt to hit you back with something. So it keeps that in their mind, which might make them punch first less or punch less, because they know that they got something coming back at them. Counterpunching is like if someone keeps disrespecting you at work or at school and you don't do anything about it, they'll continue to do it. This is counterpunching. But whenever they say something about you or do something, you counteract them, you tell them something, you gotta fight them. Then eventually they know they can't just make fun of you. So it's the same idea in boxing. If you just let a guy punch at you and you don't punch back, then they know that they could just get away with punching and not receiving any backlash. So you want to put this in their mind that, hey, even if you don't land your punch, hey, if you throw a punch at me, I'm going to give you one back. And that makes them think about throwing their own punches. I hope all that I'm saying today is making sense. Making a lot of correlations between boxing and other things, but I just use it to help people understand it more. Nice jab back by Marquez. Nice double jab by Marquez. Nice right hand. There we go. So we said that Marquez, he feinted this move. Okay, let me just see this one more time. Okay, so I'm going to put together 5 things that I talked about, around 5 things that I talked about at the beginning that Marquez puts together in this one attack. First of all, when Mingo is turning the corner, so here he has to turn the corner. There's an invisible corner you got to go around. The corner's back here, but it's also in here too. So Mingo has to go around that corner. Now Marquez knows that Mingo likes to move right. He's committed to moving right. So now Marquez does the split step. So he splits, drops that left hand with the step. You can't really see it, but you'll see where his left hook comes out of. See how it starts low? So we've seen that before when he feinted it. He used it a couple times. So he splits, gets low, drops that left hand. And now what did Mingo do? He dropped his right hand like he did before. Left hook, and then right hand. You see all the studying came together finally in round 6 for Marquez, and now he's active. Now he knows that he has him. Nice jab. Yeah, he's feinting. See how much more active he is? What he was studying for the past 5 rounds is finally... Well, I mean, he was landing a lot of punches too, but what he was studying is coming into fruition. It's another big word for me. But there's no better compliment to yourself from yourself is when you plan something in a fight or in sparring and it actually works out. See, now as soon as Mingo turns to his or moves to his right, Marquez is ready to throw that left hook to catch him and then throw that right hand later after. Feinting that right hand again. Marquez. See, feinting, he's getting very aggressive now, very energetic. Because there's no better feeling than setting something up by pulling it off. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop after round 6 just so the video isn't too long. So, things I want to highlight about Marquez is when he was younger, he looked just like Ricardo Lopez. Marquez's split step that he did, him staying active, jabbing in the air, moving, feinting, staying in the center of attention of activity in the ring to the judges and fans. His lead left uppercut, his split step, and how he's starting to put together, his feinting and how he's starting to put together what he learned of his opponent. So thank you for watching. I'll be back with part 2, and then I want to do a video on Gilberto Roman because he actually circled a lot more than Marquez. Marquez is very good at moving straight back and countering. Roman did that too, but he moved around his opponent first, so I want to do a video on that after I do the second part of this video. And yeah, I appreciate... Whoa, that was an hour long. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.